The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, it's Shakur Stevenson fight week. He's fighting some guy named Jeremiah. You know, that's what he said. I don't know the guy's last name. Some guy named Jeremiah. You know, there isn't a whole lot of buzz or excitement or people talking about the fight. And truthfully, in this video, I'm not really going to talk about the fight much either because I'm not really that excited for it, just being honest with you. But we are going to talk about Shakur Stevenson. This will be a positive video about Shakur Stevenson because believe it or not, you guys might think I hate it because the last video I did about Shakur Stevenson, I think it was in April. A lot of people think that I hate Shakur Stevenson because I was joking around about how he's never fought. His resume isn't the best, and you know, I was saying he's out here fighting Pokemon because he fought Tokakon Clary. You know, it was a play on words, Pokemon, Tokakon, that whole thing. And basically, yeah, people took it the wrong way when I was joking around. The reality is I have the biggest and most profound respect for Shakur Stevenson that you could ever have. You know, I had a chance to meet Shakur in 2016. I even interviewed Shakur Stevenson in 2016. Before he actually went to the Olympics. So I interviewed Shakur Stevenson and met the kid my damn self before most of you guys even knew who he was. And when I got around him, I got the sense that I was around a fighter that was going to be someone special. And you know what? The jury's still out on whether he'll become a great fighter. He seems to have the talent. He seems to have the tools. He seems to have those things already in place. But, you know, other than Christopher Pitufo Diaz and maybe Joet Gonzalez, depending on what you think about Joet Gonzalez, there really hasn't been anybody too good that Shakur's fought yet. So I am hoping that Shakur Stevenson can step up and get those fights that could help him prove just how good he is, because I do think he is a hell of a fighter. But what I will say is this about Shakur Stevenson, because this is the main idea of the video. There is a so-called, you know, fabulous four at 135 between a lot of these young fighters in America. You know, you have Teofimo Lopez leading the way as far and away the best fighter out of the bunch right now. You got Ryan Garcia, you got Devin Haney, and you got Gervonta Davis. They're all special in their own way. They all bring something great to the sport of boxing. They all bring something that people get attracted to when they watch them fight. But I think a lot of times, because Shakur Stevenson, like when we talk about Shakur is a fighter that he's not on social media. He's not doing these little publicity stunts. You know, he might post a picture of his girlfriend or him training, but nothing out of the ordinary with Shakur most of the time on Instagram. So sometimes he doesn't get the publicity or the attention that those guys get. But make no mistakes about it. They might call those guys the Fab Four. And look, you guys know I rate Teofimo Lopez very highly. He's one of South Florida's very own. But when you talk about this young generation of fighters, these guys on the rise like Shakur, Devin, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, you know, those guys, you know, I truly believe that if there was, because I don't think Devin Haney will be as good as Teofimo Lopez when it's all said and done. I don't think Ryan Garcia will be as good as Teofimo Lopez when it's all said and done. And I don't think Gervonta Davis will be as good as Teofimo Lopez when it's all said and done. The only fighter, and I want to make this very clear, the only fighter that I think has a chance to not just be as good as Teo, but maybe even be better than him if he puts it all together and becomes the best version of himself, is Shakur Stevenson. And I'm going to explain to you why. When we talk about Shakur Stevenson at the young, tender age of 23 years old, he's someone that, you know, so far in the sport of boxing, it looks like he's mastered the art of distance, and he doesn't get hit too often. You know, and on top of that, he's finally filling out. You're seeing those shoulders getting a bit more broad. You're seeing that man strength starting to come in. And that's really the last piece of the puzzle for Shakur. We know he can box. We know he can bang a little bit. We know he's defensively very sound. We know he's confident in his abilities. He's got the amateur pedigree to back it up. In all of his tests in the professionals, like against Joet Gonzalez and against Christopher Pitufo Diaz, he's passed them with flying colors. So the last piece of the puzzle is, can Shakur Stevenson prove or show that he is a devastating puncher along with those boxing skills? Does he have the punching power and the strength to blend with those amazing boxing skills and that wonderful IQ? And if the answer to that question becomes a yes at any point in his career, there's only one place this kid is going. There's only one place Shakur Stevenson is going, and that's straight to the top of the pound for pound list. You know, you guys know I rate Terrence Crawford very highly. You guys know I rate Demetrius Andre very highly. Anybody who watches me talk about those guys, you guys know I rate those two fighters very highly, Terrence Crawford and Demetrius Andre. But when we talk about Shakur Stevenson, I mean, if he ever hits his peak, if he ever fulfills his potential in boxing, I think he's only going to one place, and that's to the Hall of Fame. And it's crazy to say that because he hasn't fought anybody yet, but I really think he has that kind of talent. I really believe that when I watch Shakur Stevenson fight, that I'm looking at one of the best fighters this country's ever produced in the whole history of boxing. It's just a matter of him developing. It's a matter of him getting those fights, and it's a matter of him, putting it all together. And I think he will put it all together because he seems to be somebody that's very, very hell-bent on becoming a great fighter. And everything in boxing, believe it or not, it's all up here. Yes, you got to be talented. Yes, you got to train yourself, but most of boxing is up here, and he seems to have it figured out up here. I'll tell you guys this. When we talk about Shakur Stevenson, if there was a way he could fight Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, even throwing a guy like Chris Colbert, B-Hop, if he could fight all those guys, all the young names around his weight class, right? If he could fight all those guys, and I knew beforehand that the fight wasn't going to be like if it was just going to be a chess match, if it was going to be a boxing match where it's about tactics and distance and timing and feinting and all that stuff, if there was a way he fought all those guys and I knew beforehand that it was a chess match, I would pick him to beat each and every one of those guys. Devin, he would beat Devin. He would beat Gervonta. He would beat Shakur. He would beat Teo. He'd beat Ryan, and he beat Chris Colbert. That's how good I think this kid is. And I'll be real towards the end of this video. Like, by his own words, he's fighting some guy named Jeremiah that we never heard of. I never heard of you. We never heard of Jeremiah. This dude he's fighting. And his career, for better or for worse, for good, bad, or indifferent, it's getting a little bit boring. Not because of him, but because of the opponents that Bob Arum, Top Rank Boxing, and all parties involved, James Prince, are all putting him in the ring with. I'm not like, look, I love boxing. We're coming off the heels of the circus between Mayweather and Logan Paul. People should be excited about Shakur Stevenson, but I think one reason people are not excited about Shakur Stevenson is because he's fighting a guy named Jeremiah. So once he's done fighting the Jeremiahs of the world and Toka, Khan, Clary, you're here fighting Pokemon, people are going to be really excited to watch this kid fight. And I really think he's destined for special things. He wants to fight Jamel Herring, he wants to fight Gervonta Davis, these guys like that. Or not Gervonta Davis, Oscar Valdez and Jamel Herring. He'll get his turn. It ain't going to be his next fight, but he'll get his turn at some point. And when he gets his turn, I'm very confident that his turn's going to last for a very long time, and maybe his entire career. But I would still encourage anybody to watch Shakur Stevenson fight this weekend in his fight with some dude named Jeremiah, because Shakur Stevenson is one of the premier young talents in the sport. And, I truly think when I look at that crop of guys, I'm going to end it like this. When I look at that crop of guys, Devin, Teo, Ryan, Gervonta, Shakur, the only guy I see even close to the level of Teo is Shakur. Just because of the skills he brings to the table, the self-belief he has, and the fact that he's not anywhere close to a finished product, and he's dominating every fight he's in, whether it's against guys like Christopher Pitufo Diaz and veterans like him, or young undefeated prospects like Joet Gonzalez, or, Toka, Khan, Clary, the Pokemons of the world. So he's showing consistency in his performances, and that's one thing that when I look at a young fighter, I don't just look at the talent, I don't just look at the resumes, but I look at the consistency of their performances. Do they have drops off in their performances? And most fighters in boxing do have drop-offs in their performances. Even the great ones do. It's those rare few, like your Floyd Mayweathers and your Manny Pacquiao's and your Roman Cholatito Gonzalez's and guys like that. It's those rare few that stay right here at the top level, and their performances, even if they do drop, they don't drop too far below to where they're fighting down to the competition. So Shakur showed that special quality to me thus far in his career, and I expect that he will against some dude named Jeremiah on Saturday night. But leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just giving Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.